Welcome to Thriving Tribesmen. My name is Corey, your host, and today I'm excited to be making this episode. It's a Sunday, which is a day that I normally don't make an episode, but I'm walking to the shop and I thought I'll just take this opportunity to make one. And it's interesting because I got a few messages of the last episode, and guys were really happy with some of the information I've been talking about, especially the tactics side of things. So I'm going to start doubling down on some of the tactics because some guys have gone and tried it. They've come back and said it's been a game changer. That's what the words of one guy. And I think he really loved the concept of that when you lean in, she backs off, but if you lean out, you draw her in. And I'm so glad that guys are implementing it, because the information that's out there, when I was looking for information to try and change my own situation around, I tried all these things that they were saying. Sit down and talk to her. And it was chaotic because all of a sudden it was like literally setting off a bomb. Every time you sit down and talk about it, and you talk about your feelings, share what's written to say, share your feelings and how it's making you feel. And really, by doing that, she already knows that you feel rubbish because she already is aware that the sex is not happening. So you're telling her what she already knows, and she's got a defense up, and the defense goes up because of it. So it was terrible advice. What's the other one they say? Do more around the house so she can have more time to rest because she's busy. And again, yes, it should, because you should be able to help around the house. You should be wanting to have a nice house. You should be wanting to cook for your children. Like I enjoy cooking with my child, and it's one of the best things I can do, and be able to bond with them with it because of it. And not just that, be able to cook a dinner for them, for everyone. And my daughter seeing me cook, she loves it. She loves it when I cook on a Sunday. So it's because I love it. I'm not doing it because I want some sort of transaction. And this is the key thing, that when you start doing that, especially doing things around the house, doing these giving extravagant gifts, weekend getaways and date nights, if you're doing it to spark your relationship, it's probably the worst thing to do. You should be doing it for a relationship that's already going really well. It shouldn't be a thing to do to spark, because everything that you then do is transactional, and then at that point it becomes very because it's transactional, it becomes very difficult for you to be able to make it work and make it stick, and for it to be effective, especially on your relationship. So it is. I'm so sorry if there's a wind background, but I'm sort of walking, so hopefully it's not interfering. And there's some noise background as well. But it's very, very important that you recognize that as long as it's not transactional, your relationship, or at least doing things for it to be, I'll do this, and therefore you should do this. You should have sex with me. It usually is a turn off. It doesn't spike any sexual triggers. In fact, it's not even operating in that realm. So I just wanted to share this concept, and it's a very important one that I've shared for many years. That when you think about seduction, it does have phases, because I have talked about the things that you can do, the certain ways you can behave in order for that to happen, and therefore there is stages, and there's certain things that you have, certain rules, probably I should put it out. So there's certain rules that you have to follow, and the main one is the fact that there's a sequence when it comes to it. So the sequence goes: she gets interested, then when she gets interested, then she goes into desire. So you have to create this sort of interest in terms of sexual interest, or at least an interest to connect. And then when you got that interest to connect, when she gets that interest to connect, then that interest then evolves into desire. And then there's certain things that you have to do. I think the main rule on it is that your sexual intent is the most important thing. So this is a lot to say within an episode. It's a lot easier if I was writing it down, but I'm just going, if you bear with me, this will probably change the way you look at things. So imagine, you know that you need to take her through these phases where you got interest, and then you wanted to get into the phase of desire. So in order for that to happen, you have to be doing certain things. So there's certain behaviors that you have to exhibit. There's certain ways that you have to talk about. In fact, the most important thing is your state. So the way you're controlling your state starts really moving the gears in terms of how you move her between interest and desire. So most guys, they go into this mode of, my intent is to have sex, and the intent is so high that she feels it in the time of interest. Now, if your sexual intent is really high during interest, nothing happens, because all of a sudden she's been down this road. You have sex. In the end, she feels like you've just treated it like a piece of meat. And this is where you've treated me like a piece of meat comes from. So she's been down this road several times, and there isn't any nourishment in terms of a relationship from her part, because the way you are satisfied within this interaction is different. What you're seeking from it is different. I'm so sorry for the background noise, but it's very different. So your sexual intent, if you lower your sexual intent and then you focus on being extremely playful, it changes the dynamic of the interest part. Because you're being playful, it means that it's not forced, there isn't any pressure. And this is where, if you were listening to the last episode, this is where you start actually getting that tension build up, that sexual tension build up. When the sexual tension starts building up, as that's building up into desire, then your intent goes up. Because if she's now feeling sexual desire, she needs to see your intent, and then she needs to see that intent high. And when that sexual intent is high, now there's two parts here as well. So when people do have sexual intent, they're sometimes apologetic of having that sexual intent. That's why even if she gets into desire, it might fail. So you have to be unapologetic about your intent. And again, this now comes back to what we talked about, where you need to be in control of how you feel usually. Because if the moment you do it with you feeling shame or ashamed or defensive or afraid of being rejected, all of that makes the whole thing really weak, and you cannot sustain that. Now, for you to be able to have high frequency, you have to actually understand that, okay, this is this process that she's going to go through, and these are the gears I need to go through. This is my sexual intent. I'm going to control this. When I control my intent, then all of a sudden, when she gets a desire, then my intent goes up. And because she's seeing my intent, and my sexual intent is matching her desire, then all of a sudden it becomes this full-blown seduction. And hopefully I'm really breaking down what seduction is, and it now actually makes sense. Because I think most of the times I have sort of said things in passing, but sometimes I breeze over it and not understand where you guys might be at, or at least what you understand by it, because I always talk about the Hollywood seduction, and this is where most people think what seduction is, but I'm assuming nobody's actually really broke it down into this real process that you can understand, that now you can actually find out how you can actually push the needle. So in order for you to get even in more depth, because I've really taken, this is a 50,000 foot view of what seduction is. I've just broken down into the concepts. If you really want to get into really understanding it and get into the coaching side of things, because I've never played American football before, and I'm using American football because I know our audience uh, are mostly American. I've never played it before. I've watched it, a lot of it. For any of you guys, if you hate the New England Patriots, that's the one that I like the most. Mostly because of Tom Brady and his story, but I don't really follow them that much. But anyways, I understand the rules. I understand what's supposed to happen, but I've never played it. Until I get somebody to coach me, I will never be that good. So I can tell you the plays on what you need to be doing in terms of seduction, and tell you the 4 pieces, what your sexual intent, how you control that. I can tell you all about it. You can know it. But until you get somebody to say, this is how you control your sexual intent, then it's never going to work out. So, and I'm saying this because I want to get you to go to the Instagram and then go and write case study so you can be part of the case study. And when you become a part of the case study, you don't have to pay to be part of the case study, because you're going to be going ahead of everyone else. Because anybody else that's going to come after you guys who are in the case study, they're going to have to pay. And the reason why it's such an unbelievable thing is that once the case study is done, everybody's going to be raving about the results, and then you're going to be wanting in, and you're going to have to pay to get those same results. So it's one of those things. Can you imagine the guys that when Bill Gates was saying, I'm setting up this company, do you want in? And then they say no. All of a sudden, he's now one of the richest people in the world. And then you get that opportunity to take part in something that is amazing. So you got an opportunity. And like I said, I'm never going to force anyone or pressure anyone. I'm just going to give you an opportunity to make a decision, and while you make a decision, you make a decision. So thank you very much. Again, to get into the case study group, go to Instagram, type in Thriving Tribesmen, DM me case study, and then you can be part of it. So thank you very much. I'll be seeing you soon. Take care.